The Apple Pencil is one of my favorite things about the iPad because it's something I can't do with my Mac, and it makes an already incredible device that much more versatile. And the best part is, you don't even have to be an artist to use an Apple Pencil. There are currently 4 different Apple Pencils on the market, and they all have slightly different functionality, and they're compatible with different iPads. The 2 newest ones are the Apple Pencil Pro and the Apple Pencil USB-C. So those are the 2 I will be talking about today, but I will link both the compatibility chart and the feature list of each of the different Apple Pencils in the video description down below so that you can figure out which one works with your iPad and which one in terms of features makes the most sense for you. I personally use the Apple Pencil Pro, and it's not because I'm an artist, because I promise you I cannot draw for my life, but there are some features that are exclusive to the Apple Pencil Pro that I think are worth it. And there is about a $50 difference between the Apple Pencil Pro and the Apple Pencil USB-C. So it's not nothing, but the 2 main features that I think make it worth it. The first is that it's compatible with the Find My app. So if you are someone who loses things a lot or has maybe even already lost an Apple Pencil, that in itself could be worth the price difference. The second reason is how you charge the Apple Pencil. So the Pro Pencil charges when you magnetically connect it to the iPad. Super convenient. Whereas the Apple Pencil USB-C will still connect to the iPad magnetically, but only for storage. To charge it, you actually have to plug it in to a USB-C cable. So I personally find that much less convenient because I'll forget to charge it, go to use it, and the pencil's dead, versus the Apple Pencil Pro. It's already connected to my iPad most of the time, so when I go to use it, it's fully charged. Now, when it comes to actually using an Apple Pencil, I do like using it just as like a mouse or a pointer. And I do this in my videos all the time, so you may have noticed this before. I can use a pencil to just click and open an app, or I can even use it to pull down on my screen and access the search feature. You may have spotted this already, but when I go to select something, before I actually touch my iPad, just hovering over it, it'll highlight my selection so that I can see what I'm about to click. And this hover feature will also come into play with some of the drawing and writing tools we'll see a little bit later. But what's important to note is the hover feature is not Apple Pencil specific, it's actually iPad specific. So I believe it works with all of the current iPads except one. Another feature I use all the time is the scribble feature. So when I'm using the pencil as a mouse or pointer and I go to search something, I can actually write out what I'm searching for and it'll pull it up as if I had typed it with the keyboard. And it'll let you use the pencil to write anywhere instead of the keyboard. So even if I want to go to a website or go to Google, I could just write it into the search bar and it'll bring up Google for me that way. Now, if the scribble feature is not working for you, you can go into your settings and over to Apple Pencil, and towards the middle, you'll see scribble. Just make sure that is toggled on. And there's actually a try scribble area here that you can click and see some of the gestures that scribble allows you to do. There's also some tricks for deleting. You can just cross out a word to delete it. You can easily select text by drawing a line through it or circling it. You can tap and hold anywhere to insert space to add something. And you can even draw a line through to add a space. And then if we go back into the settings, scroll all the way down to the bottom, regardless of which pencil you have, you will see the options for pencil gestures in the bottom left corner and right corner of your iPad screen. And there are only 3 options for both and the same ones, but you'll see I have bottom left corner screenshot. So with my Apple Pencil, if I swipe up diagonally from the left, it'll take a screenshot. And then I can automatically start writing or highlight something if I want to mark up my screenshot very easily and quickly. And on the bottom right, I have Quick Note. So if I, let's say, am researching something in Safari and I want to quickly jot something down, I can swipe diagonally from the bottom right for a quick note. You'll see it'll basically intuitively add the website I'm on right now in case I want to link it to the note. So whatever I jot down, I know is related to this website and I can quickly get back to it. I can also easily drag in a photo to the quick note. I can even write down a phone number or a date and time. And when I hit the check mark, it'll save the quick note. So now if I go over to my notes and to my table of contents, I'll have a quick notes section. When I click into this, I'll see the website we added, the photo. When I click on the phone number, it'll actually recognize it as a phone number for me to quickly call. And when I click on the date and time, I can quickly add it to my calendar. So I find the quick note feature incredibly useful, even if I'm on a phone call, just to use it as like a notepad to quickly jot something down. And what's great is because the quick notes go into their own little area, I don't have to worry about losing the note or organizing it right away. I can quickly just jot down what I need to and then come back into the note, hit the 3 dots in the top right, and move the note into any of my folders. And another great quick note feature is you can actually do it when your iPad screen is off. So the iPad's locked, but the screen does actually need to be completely black for this to work. I can just take my Apple Pencil, hold it on the screen, and it'll open up a quick note. So I can again just jot down anything I need to do. If I try to go to all notes, you'll see the iPad's locked, so it's secure. Someone can't use that to get into your iPad. I would need to enter my passcode first. To be able to start a quick note from the lock screen, you do have to make sure that's enabled in settings, but it's not your Apple Pencil settings, it's your Apple Note settings. So if I go into search here, I'll just type notes to get into my notes setting. And then at the very bottom, you will see access notes from lock screen. If you tap in here, you have a few different options. I personally have it on always create a new note. Now, when it comes to writing and drawing, that is where the Apple Pencil excels. That's what it's made for. And you can use it in the Notes app, the Journal app, with your PDFs, and any of your Procreative apps as well, third-party apps like Procreate, for example. And another app I like to use it with is the Freeform app, because it's just kind of a blank canvas and I can do whatever I want with it. So regardless of which Apple Pencil you have, you can always hit the little markup button to bring up all of your writing and drawing tools. And you can scroll through, there are more options for pencils, markers, crayons, the colors, and you can swipe to move it to a different side so it's not in your way. If you swipe it down to a corner, it'll be a little bit more discreet. But if you have an Apple Pencil Pro, one of the Pro exclusive features is you can also squeeze the pencil to bring up a different tool selector. It's a little bit smaller, it's a little bit easier to access, but you can still swipe to access all of your different markers and then just squeeze again to close it. So if I squeeze, I can choose the marker, I can click to change the color or even get to the color grid. And you can also press the 3 dots here for some more options. At the bottom, you can actually click pencil settings to get back into your pencil settings, and you'll notice there's a squeeze option, so you can actually change the action that occurs when you squeeze the pencil. I obviously have it on show tool palette, but when I click in here, there are a bunch of different options. And the next action you can customize with the Apple Pencil Pro is the double tap feature. So I have it to switch between the current tool and my eraser. And so you'll see I'm currently using the pen, but if I double tap on the flat side of my pencil, it'll switch to the eraser. The Pro Pencil is also pressure sensitive. So for some of your tools, if I were to go back to my tool clicker and over to the highlighter, for example, I can control the darkness or the thickness of the line with how hard I press. So if I were just to do a light line, it would look like that. But if I were to press on the pencil or on the highlighter, it would be a darker line. Another feature we mentioned before is the hover feature. So this comes into play with the drawing and writing as well. If I were to just hover my pencil over the screen, right now the tool I have selected is the eraser, so you can see the size of my eraser. If I were to squeeze and let's say go over to the highlighter again, you'll also now see the line of the highlighter and the direction I'm about to highlight. So if I were to highlight right now, it'll be like that. But if I were to turn my pencil, now I can see I'm making a skinny highlight or maybe underlining something. It'll look like that. And the ability to change the angle of your stroke ties in really well with the barrel roll feature. So if I were to go over to this tool, you'll see I can obviously do the straight line, but I can also roll the pencil as I'm writing or drawing, and the line thickness adjusts in real time. So all of these Pro features are exclusive to the Pro Pencil because it is geared towards artists and creatives. It's incredibly important for them to have the ability to do this as they would intuitively and naturally in real life. They can change the angle of a pen or a pencil and adjust. So to be able to do it on the iPad in real time is really, really cool. But thankfully, there are also a few things that make us appear more pro regardless of which Apple Pencil you have. So I could draw a circle, not bad. But if I draw the circle and hold my pencil, it'll actually snap it into a perfect circle. And it will work with any shape, so I can do triangles as well, and even an arrow. So this is super useful, helps me look more professional all the time, and it works in more than just freeform. I can use the snap to shape in notes, on PDFs, anything I'm marking up. And if you have an Apple Intelligence compatible iPad, it can also help make your handwriting more legible. So for this, I'm going to go back into notes, and if I go to my tool selector and the three dots, I can click the gear icon and then turn on auto refine handwriting. If you don't have a Pro Pencil, you can still do that from the regular toolbar, the three dots. You'll see auto refine handwriting here. But so this is an Apple Intelligence feature. And so what it'll do is it'll still try and keep the essence of your handwriting, but it'll just tidy it up a little bit. So if I were to write hello, it'll know what I'm trying to write and just make it a little bit nicer. So if I go over to the tool selector, I'm looking for the pen with the letter A on it. So if I click on that, I'll just close that to get out of the way. Now when I write something, it converts it into text. And I can keep going and it'll just keep writing. And so I can just keep writing and it'll add the text wherever the cursor is. And then remember at the beginning when we turned on the scribble feature and there were all those different gestures for selecting words, deleting words, it would apply here. So if I wanted to erase the word blue, I could just scribble on it to get rid of it. If I wanted to split the word test in two, I could add a line through it to add a space. The other thing that works with the pencil in Apple Notes is math notes. So for this, I will go back over to a marker. If I do 3 + 2 and do an equal sign, it'll recognize that this is an equation and prompt me to solve it and add the answer itself. And you can also use it for graphs if you write out the variable. Insert graph, and there you go. And here's a bonus tip for you that many people don't know about. If you go to the Apple Mail app, so the native Apple Mail, and go to a new message, with your Apple Pencil, you'll still see a markup button here at the bottom. When you click on that, you can actually add a drawing or a handwritten note to your email. And everything we discussed before will still happen. So it'll auto refine my handwriting. I can snap to shape, maybe add an arrow. Everything will still apply. Hit the insert drawing button, and now it's added my drawing to my email to send off. So even if you're not an artist, there's definitely value in having an Apple Pencil for your iPad. It turns a device that's already awesome into something much more versatile and flexible, and it just makes using the iPad a lot more fun, in my opinion. So as I mentioned, I will link the compatibility for the pencils as well as all the features of the different pencils down below. And if you're someone who currently uses an Apple Pencil, let me know, what are you using it for the most? So that's it, and have a great day. Bye.